All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to the WTCF podcast. It's Charlie here hanging out and want to go through this last week's intention. It goes, I had it right here a second ago. Do not fear failure. You cannot always win, but don't let failing stop you from making tough decisions. So what we're really looking at in this regard is we're going to make mistakes along the way. Simple, straightforward, that we're going to make mistakes. We can't always win. And there's some scenarios where people think they have to win every single time. And if we win all the time, we're going to kind of not get as much growth through ourselves as we can. So if we then let this failure get the best of us and we stop making decisions, most likely other people will make that decision for you, or that decision will be made for you with other regard. And it's no longer up to you. And it won't be made in your best decision. So the idea is, yeah, you're going to make mistakes. Go ahead and learn from it. Try to figure out something different and see if you can start to do these things. So for one, I talked about it briefly. It's, learn from your mistakes. Like we actually learn a whole lot more from the things that don't go our way by making mistakes and failing. Yeah, we can end up learning a whole bunch. We learn a lot more from that than from just winning in its own right. Secondly, to develop resilience and resistance to things so that we can continue to fight harder for the things that are really important and recognize that failure is just another stepping stone along that road. So we can go ahead and make some mistakes, and it's the ability to bounce back from our own setbacks and continue forward. It's really, really important for us to be able to, kind of brush off some of the mistakes that we made and continue to go forward. It's also to cultivate courage. When we have this bit of fear, it can be very paralyzing. It can stop a lot of people from becoming the best versions of themselves because they're scared of what might actually happen. But when we start to develop some of that courage within ourselves, again, through the idea of developing some resiliency, and we can confront and overcome these fears. So, courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it or despite it. I guess it could be in spite of it anyway. So, it's not so much to say, um, it's kind of like darkness is the lack of light. So we're kind of looking at this as saying, all right, hey, it's you can still do things super scared. And sometimes having courage is having a couple extra seconds more courage than somebody else could make fantastic decisions or help you learn. That's the whole idea. Then start to set some realistic expectations. Break down your goals into something a little bit more obtainable. Like, hey, I want to run a marathon, but well, if you can't run a block and a half, you're going to have a tough time at a marathon. So it's practicing those things and breaking it into smaller goals, and then seek support. That's what Be the Collective is always about. It's about kind of building up our community, trying to find the best that we can within ourselves, and then see what we can kind of pull out of other people for the best of what they're able to do, give them support, recognize that it's not always like this easy path, right? Like helping somebody through something difficult can really help change some lives. And so again, keeping these nice and quick. So on that note, good luck.